My name is Kevin Berger, and I am the author of Atheism is Untenable. On this channel, I don't engage in apologetics. Instead, I apply the principles of polemics and skepticism to atheism and the claims made by atheists. This is Justified Nonetheless. Please like, share, subscribe, and turn on those notifications.
I'm frequently confronted with challenges like this one to call Matt Dillahunty or The Line and previously the Atheist Experience to discuss my issue with what I argue to be the intrinsic incoherence that is lack-theism. Apparently the perception is that I am somehow afraid to do so, and this couldn't be further from the truth. No, I have several legitimate reasons as to why I refuse to call. I prioritize substance over rhetoric and refuse to participate in formats that inherently favor the latter at the expense of the former. 1. I'm not naive enough to think that I will be given a voice. I have neither the time nor the inclination to attempt to have a conversation with someone in a format in which they will have the immutable advantages of talking over me, muting me, or hanging up on me. My skepticism in this regard is warranted as A, there are countless examples of the hosts of these call-in shows engaging in the aforementioned behaviors, and B, when I have attempted to raise questions in the chats for these shows, I have been silenced under the false pretense that I'm trying to debate in the chat. I appropriately describe this as a false pretense because 1, there doesn't seem to be any resistance to debate as long as the target is religious belief, and 2, the last time I checked, merely posing a question isn't debate anyway. 2, I am not naive enough to think that I will be taken seriously. I have neither the time nor the inclination to attempt to have a conversation with someone who will attempt to dismiss me with magical hand-waving woo, appeals to the stone, intellectual high-ground fallacies where it is argued that the other party lacks understanding, or false accusations of word salad, gish, gallop, and so on. My skepticism in this regard is warranted, as evidenced by my past interactions with Matt Dillahunty, Aaron Ra, and others, in which they pretend that I somehow don't understand the difference between not believing and believing not, when a lack of understanding has never been the issue. Rather, the issue is a complete lack of empirical evidence of the sort of phenomenological distinction in the referent that these terms refer to. This tendency to attempt to dismiss me is further evidenced by the comments in my videos. 3, I am not naive enough to think that my would-be interlocutors would honestly engage with my actual arguments. My skepticism in this regard is warranted by the fact that in my attempts to have my arguments addressed, the conversations have been aborted or the arguments were never addressed in the first place. This tendency to attempt to distract from, to deflect from, evade, or otherwise obfuscate the actual point of contention is also further evidenced by the comments in my videos. One need only watch the ongoing series, How to Destroy Your Credibility in One Post, to see the numerous times which, upon challenging atheists to provide empirical evidence to substantiate the claimed distinction between the dissent to a proposition and the assent to its negation, rather than rising to the challenge, the person instead demands that I, an explicitly irreligious agnostic, present evidence for a deity, thereby assigning me an irrelevant burden of proof for an assertion that I don't even make, resulting in the commission of what I have dubbed the straw herring fallacy, a marriage of the classic straw man fallacy and a red herring fallacy. 4, I firmly believe that content, substance, is more important than presentation. Consider the following. How stupid is the argument, we are all atheists about most of the gods that humanity has ever believed in. Some of us just go one god further. Really? Check out this simple juxtaposition. Every atheist throughout history has only been one god away from being a theist. Those are both nothing statements. They are the equivalent of arguing about the glass being half empty and half full. Hence, while rhetorically powerful, they are philosophically bankrupt, or as I would say, stupid. They are vacuously true, but so what? To say nothing of the fact that nearly an atheist is incoherent anyway because these appear to be binary states. While there are some degrees of credence, as far as I can tell, there isn't a spectrum between believing something exists and not believing it exists. You either do or you don't, with greater or lesser strength. 5, I've already posed the challenge to these individuals. I've attempted to get a straightforward response from Matt Dillahunty, which is documented in videos here and here and here. I also posed the question to Aaron Ra and documented that in a video here. Neither offered any empirical evidence, though Aaron emphatically stated that he had some, and I asked him to provide it 4 times. He instead invoked the aforementioned intellectual high ground fallacy. Matt, on the other hand, when he responded at all, instead invoked the same tired gumball analogy that I've already refuted by pointing out 14 problems with it. 6. I'm not afraid of, and I'm certainly not hiding from, these individuals. I have posted numerous videos and have tagged Matt, Arn, The Line, and The Atheist Experience, and others in those videos. If they feel that they are correct and that I am wrong, as the claimants, they have the burden of proof to simply provide the empirical evidence. Not analogies, not arguments, not definitions, descriptions, explanations, fallacies, personal anecdotes, or anything else. Evidence to support the asserted distinction between the phenomena of non-belief and disbelief, not the concepts or the words, the phenomena to which they refer. 7. I have done my own research. I have amassed hundreds of scholarly sources across a variety of disciplines. I make a point of providing citations in my videos so that the prove it argument falls flat. I have 10 references to support the assertion that a genuine distinction in brain activity between atheists and religious people has already been substantiated in multiple clinical studies. Hence, the expectation that the claimed distinction in brain activity that would substantiate a difference between not believing in deities and believing that they don't exist can't be considered unreasonable. I have over a dozen sources to support the assertion that although uncertainty activates different areas of the brain, uncertainty does not imply an absence of belief, because belief and certainty have different thresholds of credence. Belief can coexist with uncertainty. I have 8 sources to support the assertion that there are a wide variety of factors beyond evidence and sound reasoning that affect belief formation, which means that epistemic parity does not logically imply the equivalence that a genuine lack of belief requires. I have a dozen to support the assertion that belief is not a choice. I have over a dozen sources to support the claim that belief can be held without conscious awareness. I have over a dozen sources to support the claim that belief informs willful action and that an absence of belief provides no impetus for action, thus substantiating a co-location between willful action and the presence of belief. I have 10 sources to support the assertion that beliefs are private mental events not subject to direct empirical testing, which, when combined with the potential for subconscious belief, implies that no one, including the subject, could know that any given belief is absent, even if it is. And I'm not even asserting there is no difference between not believing a claim and instead believing its negation. I have done my homework. I have gone above and beyond what can be reasonably be expected of someone who is only rebutting someone else's assertion. I am prepared to argue my position, and I will continue to do so. What I will not do is allow my opponent to dictate the terms of discourse. I'm not afraid of these discussions. I welcome them. However, I refuse to engage in formats designed to obscure substance with style. The onus lies with my would-be interlocutors to rise to the standard of intellectual rigor and address my challenge honestly and substantively. If they feel that I am wrong, they should meet the burden of proof by providing empirical evidence rather than relying on analogies, anecdotes, or definitions. There is an open invitation for anyone to simply provide empirical evidence to support this claim. I'm not hard to find.